Virtualization is moving critical infrastructure from boxes in bays to software-defined systems.
This is Powering the Future, a podcast series brought to you by Smart Grid Forums. One planet, one power grid.
I'm Mandana White, and today I'm joined by Paul O'Shaughnessy from Advantech. Paul's at the center of the push to make virtualization real in the power sector. Hi, Paul. Welcome to the podcast. It's lovely to have you here today.
Hello, Mandana, and thank you for inviting me to the podcast today. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right. So, Paul, before we get started on the conversation, just a quick insight into your background and your role at Advantech would be great. What your pressures and priorities are, what you're focused on right now.
Sure. I'm the sector head for the energy and utility business of Advantech in Europe, and I'm based here on the west coast of Ireland in beautiful Galway. Just a little bit maybe about Advantech first, and then we can focus on the priorities. But Advantech is the world's largest IPC company. We're headquartered out of Taipei, Taiwan, with revenues of over 2 billion, 8,800 employees. And we manufacture in China, Taiwan, and Japan, with over 2 million square feet of manufacturing. We release over 2,000 products a year, and our service, when we're servicing markets such as Industry 4.0, the IIoT sector, embedded computing, retail, medical, and logistics. The sector I'm focused on is the energy and utilities subsector, which sits within the IIoT industry sector of Advantech. The focus of the team here, particularly in Europe, is working with the transmission operators, the distribution operators, and the network of large OEMs that are servicing this industry. So our single biggest challenge today is ensuring that we have the correct product match as a hardware manufacturer to meet the requirements and the trends that are happening within that sector.
Right. Okay, great. Well, that's really good background to know. And your focus at the moment is very much on virtualization and the software-defined systems across all sectors, really. Tell us a bit more about that and why that's a particularly hot trend for you.
Yeah, we are seeing software-defined architectures having a major multi-industry impact, especially in energy and utilities, which I know we'll talk about later, in virtualized substations, smart grids, and real-time protection systems. But we also see it in our other industry sectors as well, which are maybe a little bit more advanced with it. We see it in automotive with software-defined vehicles, centralized compute, and over-the-air capabilities. We see it in industrial automation today, which is really a core of our business as well. Virtualized control systems, which are safer and more efficient for operations. And then we see digital infrastructure, which really has adopted this technology many, many years ago, particularly when you look at things like data centers. They have adopted this technology, they've proven it. So it is a very well-developed approach to solving some of the challenges that the energy and utility sector is looking to solve right now. And ultimately, it delivers the same advantages for all these industries. It's flexibility, scalability, lower life cycle costs, improved safety, remote manageability, and faster innovation cycles, which is really critical in this sector.
Right, okay. And Paul, the context that we know Advantech in is for the energy sector, the power sector. And of course, we've been seeing you at our events for many years now, talking about, your products in the substation. So tell us about your application of virtualization in the substation, and particularly now with the impact of data centers and cybersecurity concerns on how the future substation architecture is going to evolve.
So the main trends that we see in the industry right now is a very significant and concerted effort and move by the transmission and distribution operators to a software-defined architecture for the deployment, protection, management, and control of their asset base, which essentially is substations and transformer stations. There are very significant benefits for the operators by moving away from hardware-based IEDs such as protection relays, and then replicating that functionality in software and deploying these applications in 61850-3 certified servers that can run protection, automation, and control of these assets. Just to give you an example, in the past, the protection and control of these assets would have been managed by many hundreds of single-function electromechanical relays in a single substation, 300 to 500. That has now migrated to multi-function microprocessor-based relays, where you have only just 100. And the next step, which has already happened, is a migration to centralized protection workstations that are running virtualized images of those protection relays. But the next big step is where you take those 5 and you put them onto one high-performance server running virtual machines on hypervisor. So that's the biggest trend that we see in the sector, and it's the one that the whole industry is tuned in on. And it's really critical, because for the sector, it's huge cost benefit in terms of reduced hardware, remote deployment, less engineering effort and resources, which we know is a big issue in the sector, and pay per function, which is something that people don't think about much. It's software. You just pay for what you use. And then on top of that, there's safety and reliability, which is huge for this sector as well. I think as a hardware provider for us, the challenge is it needs to be open and hardware agnostic. So that's a challenge for us as a supplier. Mm-hmm. But we need to participate in the ecosystem actively to deliver what's required for the industry.
Oh, that's really interesting, Paul. And what about the cybersecurity element?
Yeah, I think the number one topic that is raised by all customers right now is, in this sector particularly, is cybersecurity, as it's the single critical, most critical piece of infrastructure today and needs to be secured. So for hardware companies like Advantech, we are required by law to comply with all of the main standards for a hardware manufacturer, such as IE 62443-4, ISO 27001, and EU CRA, and also indirectly NIS2. But that's just one piece of the picture. I think the other really important piece in terms of what customers expect to see from a cybersecurity with a hardware supplier is they want to see a solution set. So along with what we've already mentioned on cybersecurity, we also work with key partners in the cybersecurity sector to offer a complete solution to the grid operators. This industry is focused on solving problems quickly. And to do that, it means taking a solutions approach. And for us, this requires building strategic partnerships with leading and global cybersecurity companies that are focused on the process industry and energy and utilities. So we go to market together and propose these solutions, whether they're core-based or on the edge. But that's how we're approaching the cybersecurity market today.
And with such a transformational new approach, of course, to get the momentum going, it needs a great deal of power and cooperation within the industry. So tell us about the work that you're doing with alliances such as VPAC and Ep43 to really move the agenda on this.
Yeah, these alliances are critical because they're bringing together the end users, which are the operators, with the main technology drivers in the sector. And without that, there would be a lot of independent activity going on trying to solve the same problems. So these alliances, VPAC, which is Virtualized Protection, Automation and Control, which is a customer-driven ecosystem, led by the transmission operators primarily, with distribution operators, but also the technology companies, to develop an open and secure software-defined architecture. Ep43 is doing the same thing, but it has a different challenge. It's also developing a software-defined architecture approach to solve a problem of far more significant scale and variability, because you're looking at medium voltage, low voltage, and transformer station. So the scale in terms of volume and the scale in terms of variability of what's installed currently in the field is very significant. So we work in both of those alliances as an active member on the working groups to ensure that we are prepared for this migration, to support it with the latest technology that we can bring to bear in the sector.
And you do have quite a unique market model, don't you? You work both with the big 5 suppliers as well as you have quite good relationships, quite close relationships directly with the utilities. Tell us about how that works for you.
It's really important that, if I go back a number of years, Advantech's approach would have been to work directly through the very large branded OEMs. But as we get more into the sector and become far more sector focused as a company, the realization is that the real impact you can have is working with the operators.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to work with both the distribution and transmission operators within their labs to ensure that you are present with and bringing solutions to the table, not just a piece of hardware. So going to visit with those customers to work with them on solving problems with our hardware, with some of our software, and possibly a partner with their software as well, is the way that we ensure a market presence when that operator decides to deploy. Ultimately, that deployment will create the pull for us from a business perspective that will come through the large system integrators and the large branded OEMs, the big five as we refer to them here in Europe and globally, and they become our ultimate customer. But the technology development piece is done in front of that with the end user by bringing solution sets to the table to make sure that we are one of the vendors of choice to be type tested.
Okay, great. And of course, you'll be joining us at SGT26 in Paris at the end of March. We're looking forward to seeing you and your team there. I think Advantech were actually, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Paul, but were our very first exhibitor at our very first event back in 2012. So,
do you know, I did not know that, and that is really nice to know, and it's good to see that we're still going.
You're still going. We see your team every year, and we're looking forward to seeing you again at the end of March in Paris. So tell us about what you'll be bringing with you. What will you be sharing with the participants there, and what do you hope to take as well?
The SGTech Forum is really an important one for us. It's a concentrated network of all of the key players that drive this industry and drive it at a technical level. So a lot of the people that we really would probably find difficulty in accessing otherwise will be there. And since we started doing this, we have built up quite a network of connections within the sector in the right engineering levels and at the right levels within the operators. So that's been very important. We also build up a strong network engineering connection with the large brands, the large system integrators that are participating there as well. So it's very important for us that we attend events like this, and we will have a team there that will be a technically focused team, who can talk in detail about the product. And on display, we'll be showing our latest generation of ECU 579 servers, which are used for VPAC, for virtualized protection and control. We will also have a number of our fanless systems, which are also 61850-3 for substation protection and control. But additional to that, in terms of innovation, there's some very interesting technology that we've developed, which is a modular 61850-3 Ethernet switch that supports HSRP-RP, which I think is very unique in the market because it's modular. And the second interesting product, I think, for customers to come by and look at is a new HSRP-RP card that supports SRIOV, single root IO virtualization, which is becoming a very hot topic and something that we've taken the lead on as a company. So there aren't any of these cards available from anybody else currently that I'm aware of. So we would encourage anybody going to the event to come by our booth and have a look. We'd be glad to share with you what we're doing.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to seeing you there. We look forward to having your team in the exhibition room, but also in the conference Q&A sessions, of course, which is very important during the networking at the awards and the roundtables as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, Paul. It's been lovely talking to you, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the end of March.
Thank you, Mandana. It was good talking to you.
Thank you. Join us again next time as we discuss another big topic shaping the future of the power grid. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Smart Grid Forums, and to follow us on LinkedIn. Until then, thanks for watching and listening.
This is Powering the Future, a podcast series brought to you by Smart Grid Forums. One planet, one power grid.